Tonight on Joy News Prime, Volta River Authority announces plans to resettle persons living along the White Volta in the northeast region as floods continue to ravage parts of the northern Ghana following spillage of the Bagre Dam and continuous rainfall.
This issue of flooding very soon will be a thing of the past, because we are going to take the people within the low-lying areas from there and resettle them to a good place.
One more death has been reported in the East Mamprusi district in the northeast region, where more than 50 communities have been unreachable for weeks now after they were cut off by floods. The Member of Parliament for Kumbungu is describing the floods in his part of the country as a calamity of biblical proportions.
To tears, because I know this particular community very well, and we are seeing a calamity of biblical proportions.
Also in this bulletin, Electoral Commission to publish the names of more than 6,000 people who registered twice in the recently compiled voters register, which goes on exhibition this Friday.
Multiples list, and is at the moment we have a total of 6,080. 6,080.
We'll also bring you stories from the campaign trail. In business,
telecoms giant MTN to deploy artificial intelligence to arrest mobile money fraud in 2021.
Looking at other technologically driven mechanisms to be a little bit more effective in predicting trends, looking at networks of fraudsters to identify other fraudsters using artificial intelligence, for example, and using all these patterns and technology to help us be more effective.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joy News Prime is coming to you from our Fauna First Studios at Kokomlemle in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. On the White Volta River in the region as part of short-term measures to minimize the impact of the annual floods. The authority is currently conducting a resettlement action plan meant to move people from low-lying settlements to high grounds as work begins on the construction of the Kumbungu Dam, which is said to be earmarked as a long-term solution to the flooding problem. Elias Otanko has more.
From the Bagre Dam, coupled with torrential rains in northern Ghana, has so far killed 11 people. I
apologize for the breaking sound. Let's get back to that story where one more person is reported dead in Mamprusi East in the northern region, all because of the spillage of the Bagre Dam. There is more in this report.
The spillage from the Bagre Dam, coupled with torrential rains in northern Ghana, has so far killed 11 people. The list, a 10-year-old girl. Hundreds of farmlands have been submerged in harvest season, adversely affecting livelihoods, while several homes have been destroyed. Public Relations Officer of VRA in charge of stakeholders engagement and communications, David Pra, who revealed to Joy News, said the authority was currently assessing and valuing lands, buildings and other properties of those affected by the annual floods. Mr. Pra explained the move was to completely move these people from their low-lying settlement to high grounds as the construction of the Kumbungu multi-purpose dam, which is to be completed in 4 years, begins.
As we are all aware, the Kumbungu multi-purpose dam project is a three key projects. The first one is 60 megawatt hydro power project. And then the second one is very also critical. That is a 50 megawatt solar facility. And then the third one is the mega one, which is the 24,000 hectare square irrigation facility. And these three come together to form the Kumbungu multi-purpose dam project.
He was speaking in the Northeast Regional Capital, Nalirgu, where officials of VRA donated relief items to the recent flood victims.
We are doing with VRA, what we are doing is to look at the valuation of properties in the demarcated areas. So all the lands, buildings, farms that are, and other properties that are within the dam boundaries, we are assessing them currently to match cost to each of them to know the value. It's critical to help us prepare the RAP, that's a resettlement action plan, so that we can now resettle all those who fall within. So this issue of flooding very soon will be a thing of the past, because we are going to take the people within the low-lying areas from there and resettle them to a good place. So they will not even be affected, let alone be killed. So that is what the Kumbungu multi-purpose dam is going to do.
The managing director of VRA, Osman Ayuba, presenting the donation to NADMO and the Regional Coordinating Council, said the company, which is a key partner in the construction of the Kumbungu multi-purpose dam, donated the items as part of its corporate social responsibility.
We are here this afternoon on behalf of VRA Chief Executive Engineer Jackpot to make a token to be presented to those who have really suffered this loss. We know that we cannot actually completely compensate for the loss, especially of the lives of the people, but at least we can show some sense of belongingness to let the people understand that we are with them in this trying moment, especially as VRA was to embark on the construction of the multi-purpose Kumbungu dam. We believe that this donation will go a long way to help in reducing the sufferings of the people. And we also want to call on others to come on board to support, because this is just a small fraction of what we can do.
Regional Minister Mr. Solomon Bua, who received the donation, thanked the VRA officials for the kind gesture and appealed for more assistance. The regional minister, however, cautioned residents
Ilyasu Tanko joins us via Zoom with the very latest on the situation. Ilyasu, tell us about the death reported in East Mamprusi district.
Well, this morning we are getting report from, this afternoon really, we are getting report from the NADMO service in the, we are getting report from NADMO service in the East Mamprusi municipality, where they are reporting the death of one man who traveled to his farm field to visit the farmland, and while he was coming back, he was drowned in the river. As we speak, his body has been recovered and he has since been laid to rest.
Now, we're also aware several communities have been cut off by the floods. How many communities are we talking about, and how long since they got cut off?
Well, we have dozens and dozens of these communities. The regional minister, we spoke to him yesterday. He gave an estimate. He says nearly over 50 communities, as we speak, in all the 6 districts in the region currently are inaccessible, from the Mamprugu Muaduri area to West Mamprusi to East Mamprusi and Bunkurgu, and also in Cherpone. As we speak, over 50 of these communities are currently inaccessible.
Ilyasu Tanko is our correspondent in the northeast. Have we heard from the NADMO yet? Ilyasu. We lost Ilyasu there, but we've also been trying to reach NADMO coordinator Abu Ramadan to tell us more about plans to rescue or to take care of victims of this floods, but our calls have not been successful. We'll still try and get him to get some responses. But the Member of Parliament for Kumbungu, Ras Mubarak, has described this year's flooding in his constituency as a calamity of biblical proportions, considering the destruction it has caused. He says he knows the community very well and has never seen this level of destruction. Speaking to Joy News after a donation to support the flood victims, the MP said he was close to tears because of what he had seen.
I'm close to tears because I know this particular community very well, and we are seeing a calamity of biblical proportions. There are people who were born here, who are adults today, who have never seen anything like this in the history of Dalong, Naone, Afayele, Senga, Gbale, Tolgo, Mane, and the rest of the communities that have been affected. It is complete devastation. You know, about 47 homes have been submerged, even though the water is receding, but you can see the levels of walls have been broken down, farms have been destroyed, properties running into hundreds of thousands of cities have been destroyed. Currently, children, women, men, and the aged are living in makeshift facilities in schools, which clearly requires urgent attention and support. So we are here today to lend a hand of support. Earlier on in the week, I sent some relief items, blankets and mosquito nets, but I felt as a representative of the people, it's crucial that I come myself personally to see firsthand the level of.
Mr. Mubarak says women, children and the elderly are currently being housed in schools and need urgent attention, adding that some institutions have pledged to move in to support the victims.
Today, I'm happy to announce a token of support from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The ambassador sends his best wishes and is giving a cash donation of 5,000 Ghana cedis temporarily whilst they prepare to come back with some more support. I can assure you that Stanbic Bank is also coming in to support. In the next couple of days, they would come and help build makeshift facilities just so that the people can at least have somewhere decent to put their heads. The Embassy of the Republic of South Korea is also coming in with some support temporarily, you know, to help them get back on their feet. Myself, I'm making a personal donation of 2,000 Ghana cedis, plus some dried food items, 10 bags of maize, 5 bags of rice, cooking oil, and some other items to alleviate the suffering of the people whilst we go out there again and knock on doors and encourage corporate Ghana and government, especially NATMO, to intervene and help take away their pain and suffering.
They will approach the chief of Dalong if it's possible to offer land for resettlement for the people.
I'll be paying a courtesy call on the chief of Dalong, Yeb Dalong Lana, and it's one conversation that I would be happy to put before him and to see if, you know, some land could be made available to them, because you don't know what's going to happen next year or 10 years from now or 20 years from now. We could have a re-emergence of the same situation, and you don't want a situation where every now and then the whole community will be submerged and we would have to seek for assistance to support them. So clearly, it's a conversation that we would have with the custodians of the land here.
Now, we know that in the early years in Tamale here, when the water disaster happened, government built some structures. You as their rep, would you lobby so that if they make land available, government can come in with something?
I've already had conversations with persons in government. Yesterday, I reached out to the coordinator of NATMO. I also reached out to a senior member of the current administration, who is the minister in charge of Agric, and I presented to him the urgency of the situation to look at, you know, providing some urgent support, either, you know, for them to reconstruct, whatever that can help them get back on their feet. And the minister assured me he will put forward my request, because as a representative of people, wherever I can get support to help my people, it is something that I am willing to do. And the minister responsible for agriculture has given assurances that he would implore NADMO to come in with some temporary support whilst looking at, coming in to help them rebuild, their homes. This is devastating, to put it mildly.
Northern Region correspondent Martina Bugri joins us with the flood situation in the region. Martina, what's the situation in your region?
The northern region is equally hard hit like the other regions. Now, in the northern regions, we have 7 districts that are flooded. Some are flooded because of heavy torrential rains, and others are flooded because of the torrential rains and then the spillage of the battery dam. So you talk of Saboba, you talk of Kumbungu, Sablibu, among others. They are hard hit because they have the two, the torrential rains and then the spillage of the battery dam. Now, I must say that when you come, 2 of these districts are hard hit. That is the Sablibu and the Kumbungu district. Now, in Kumbungu today, I must say that everything is totally gone. We have communities, those communities they call island communities. Those communities, you can go in, you can come out. And so as we speak now, they do not know what is happening in those communities. Now, those whose farms and homes have been submerged told me they sleep on the streets. So in the night, they just laid their polythene bags, just name it, anything they can be able to lie on. Yesterday, they said rain, they had to stand and wait till the rain finished, and then they went back to sleep. No place to attend to nature's call, to bath, nothing. I talked to one woman who said she's been wearing one single dress for the past 7 days. She hasn't changed anything. And so this is how much devastation it has caused to these communities.
Has there been any release from NADMO?
Not yet. I spoke to NADMO yesterday. I was told that they were trying to mobilize themselves and come into the community. When I went into the community today, I spoke with the assemblyman, and he says that, yes, they came there earlier to assess and go, but up till now, nothing has come yet.
Martina Bugri is our correspondent in the northern region. Joy FM Super Morning Show has also started a campaign to mobilize some relief items for the communities affected by the floods in the north of the country. Joining me via Zoom is host of the morning show, Kojo Yankson. Kojo, what got you and your team to start this campaign, and how is it going?
Well, Aisha, we spoke to our correspondents, Martina and Eliasu, and they painted a very grim picture of the situation in the 2 regions they represent. So in the northern region, not only is the flooding submerging farmlands and washing away people's homes, but we're also learning that their only source of water, which is the newly developed water treatment plant, is currently on the verge of being shut down because it's also flooded. Now, if you can imagine, that will mean that communities in areas like Bimbilla, even if they are not flooded, their homes will not be able to receive clean water because the water treatment plant will have to be shut down. So this filled us with alarm. We also realized that there appears to be some difficulty, which we are yet to understand, with the authorities attending to these people. So NADMO is yet to go into the northern region with aid items for the affected communities. In the northeast region, we have over 50 communities that are cut off, and NADMO is unable to reach them. Nobody is able to reach them. So we were concerned, and we realized that as a people, it's up to us to look after each other. We can't always sit around and wait for the authorities to come to our aid. So we're doing this ourselves. We're just gathering people's concerns and putting together whatever people are willing to donate so that we can go together into the northeast and the northern regions on Saturday and meet the people who are worst affected by this, meet them for ourselves and see what we can do together to help them. So far, the response has been very positive. We've got people calling in to offer all kinds of things. We have a company that has offered to convey everything we collect all the donations, whether it's rice or mattresses or oil, convey all of it from the Greater Accra region all the way up to the north and the northeast region to help us distribute them to the affected people. And we want to give these directly to those affected rather than hand them over to an institution that might struggle to mobilize itself and go to their aid. We are going directly to the people who need it the most.
Keep up the good job, Kojo. Kojo Yangseh is the host of the Super Morning Show. Still to come in this bulletin. We'll take a break and we'll bring you more in this bulletin. On your election headquarters, the Electoral Commission says it has uncovered some 6,080 prospective voters who registered multiple times in the just ended nationwide voters album compilation exercise. The Commission will not immediately take legal action against the culprits, but says it will call out those people by publishing their names and details on the Commission's website. Chairperson of the Commission, Jean Mensah, made that revelation at a news conference to announce commencement of the Voters Album exhibition exercise from Friday, September 18.
Go behind the scenes during this time to find out the number of on the multiples list. And at the moment we have a total of 6,080. 6,080. Legitimately, the Commission can't take legal action against them. But I do believe that there's a time for everything. At the moment, we are geared towards conducting free, fair, and transparent elections, and therefore we are focusing our attention to that area. But I believe that we are going forward. These are decisions that could be taken. Some legal action could be brought against them. We will be deciding whether or not to publish their names, but I think the Commission would publish their names on its website with their photographs and so on, and show the number of times that they registered with the different attires and that sort of thing. So be assured that we intend to call out persons who have engaged in illegalities, and once the process of exhibition is completed, their images and their names will be published on our website.
Madam Jean Mensah also has been outlining protocols it intends to use during the exhibition exercise.
All persons who registered at the various district offices must go to their assigned polling stations during the exhibition exercise and not the district offices. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in a bid to ensure the safety and security of our stakeholders and to make life easier for all prospective voters, the Commission will deploy a mobile telephoning system, also known as the SMS, to allow prospective voters check their details using their mobile phones for a fee of 30 pesos. A prospective voter may access the system by simply texting his or her voter's ID card number to 1422, and immediately his or her details will pop up. With this simple process, a voter with a click of the button can obtain the following details: his or her name, voter ID card number, age, gender, polling station code, polling station name, district, and region. This facility will be available to all voters throughout the period from Friday the 18th of September to Friday the 25th of September 2020. For the information of the general public, the Commission will deploy 5,000 biometric verification devices to selected exhibition centers across the country. The device will be operated alongside the physical copies of the provisional voters register. This device will enable the prospective voter verify both biometric details, that is fingerprint and facial features, as well as biographic data, that is one's age, name, etc. The deployment of the 5,000 devices would also afford the Commission the opportunity to pilot the devices.
Some Ghanaians on the streets of Accra have been debating how government's flagship policy, Free Senior High School, will affect their vote in the 2020 elections. According to one, free SHS is a good policy, and for another, the double track will lead him to vote for the NDC because of the party's promise to abolish it. Listen.
Is free SHS something that you're going to consider in terms of, going to vote in a poll?
Amazing. It's amazing. Because free SHS, it helped me a lot. I can't.
Why, did you go to free SHS?
No, but my small kids are there. Most of my friends, sometimes they come because most of them, their fathers are not good. By sometimes I give them 50, 100. By now, because of free HS, everything is normal. So free HS, I will vote for Nana because of free HS.
You will vote for Nana because of free HS. My boss, will you vote for Nana because of free HS?
No.
But why?
No, now
over 1 million students are going to school for free. That's huge.
The free is not the free is fine, but the double track.
Okay.
Like he cancelled the double track, I vote for him.
Okay.
But because of the double track is condemn our education sector.
Okay.
They pay for a chair to go to school 3 months, then you can't sit in the home 3 months. Then you providing the classroom, extra classrooms for the child. Then you spend more than what you pay to the school.
Okay.
So if you want our vote, then you should cancel the double.
Listen to another who says he will not vote for the president because he failed to deliver on his promises. He goes as far back as when the president was a member of parliament and says he did not develop the Buakwa constituency when he represented them.
I'm from Chimabakwa. He's MP once 12 years over there. Not even a single single pole like this. I'm from there. Okay. So I'm telling you, I'm challenging every Ghanaian to come and say Abuakwa, he's not well developed.
Okay.
He was there as a 12 years MP. Nothing he achieved. But he's a failure. I'm telling you the fact. Okay. We need development. We don't need this Kumbungu story. We need development. And we know what NDC did for this nation.
What did they do?
They did plenty of them.
Like what?
Education, infrastructure.
They said they'll build 200 in 4 years. They built what, 46?
Yes, he's doing it.
That's just about a quarter. No. Less than a quarter.
He's doing it. Okay. He is doing it. Somebody said somebody promised you that he'll give you 10 cities.
Yeah.
And he give you 6 cities. The person is going to give you 4 cities added.
Right.
So we need some policies like this.
Okay. You know, in Akan we say Akoko Sachira Kruma and Yanofe.
Right.
You say that, yeah, that's their opinion. Before Nana promised he will come and do, he will come for free SHS. What did they say?
He said he cannot do.
Yes. Now the free SHS is in. So we know them.
Was live on Joy News Prime. More to come in this bulletin, including our visit to the Adenton constituency, one of the battleground constituencies, to hear from the electorate. That comes up as part of the premiere of Joy News' election headquarters program, Battleground, which starts on Joy FM at 8 p.m. We'll be having a sneak peek when the show begins. We're back shortly with business.
A good evening to you all. Time for business with me, Charles Aite. Mobile operator MTN has indicated that it plans rolling out an artificial intelligence system to check mobile money fraud from the first quarter of next year. Now, according to the operator, this is to complete existing structures that have been put in place to deal with the challenge. The service has been hit by rising fraud cases in recent years. But speaking to Joy Business ahead on his appearance on the business thread, Chief Executive of MTN, Selim Adedivo, says they are committed to dealing with this challenge once and for all.
There's a way for, a bank to know that this specific individual was barred from the telcos because they did fraud. then they can also block them on that side. So, we have to have a much broader coordination if we're really going to arrest this, fraud situation in Ghana, right? But, obviously we have to take the lead, and we're putting a lot of effort in fighting this. We're also going to the point where we're now looking at other technologically driven mechanisms to be a little bit more effective in predicting trends, looking at networks of fraudsters to identify other fraudsters using artificial intelligence, for example, and using all these patterns and technology to help us be more effective. Today, if someone reports a fraud case, it's one number, and I block that one number. I blocked one person. But that person exists in a cohort of, say, 15 other fraudsters or 5 other fraudsters. And for the arrests that we've made so far, people work in groups of 5, 6, 10, depending on the size. So if you have some of these tools, then when you get one number reported, you can detect 5 to 10 other numbers that are also participating in fraud, and you can immediately eliminate them.
And you may want to stay tuned for this interesting discussion with George Riafi on PM Express tonight at 9 p.m. Away from that, government is embarking on a massive technological infrastructure for rural and underserved communities in the 6 newly created regions. Speaking to journalists ahead of the Girls in ICT program in the Oti region, Minister for Communications Esla Owusu-Ekufo hinted that the president has tasked the ministry and the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication, GIFEC, to ensure that infrastructure for internet connectivity is provided to all underserved rural areas.
Usually we wait for the telecoms companies to do their own expansion, and they will go where it is commercially viable. So smaller communities, rural areas, underserved areas are usually left behind. We can't continue to expand our networks at that pace. So government has got a facility now, has gone for a loan to be able to extend the infrastructure to all the unserved and underserved communities which currently don't have networks. And once that is done, the network operators will provide the service because it's expensive. And if they are not getting a return on their investment, they will not invest in it. But if government is taking the cost of expanding the infrastructure there, then they will deliver their services on it. That's what we're doing. And we've given ourselves 1 year. Starting, the processes have already started. The first lot of equipment is arriving at the end of this month. We will start rolling out in October. And hopefully within 12 months, 2,016 communities which currently do not have networks will be connected. We're looking at another technology that will enable us to expand existing networks to another 500 plus communities. We're hopeful that once that is done, the entire country will be connected with both voice and data capabilities. And so it will enable everybody in every part of this country to also engage with the digital revolution which is currently unfolding. We're doing a lot of our financial services on our mobile devices using mobile money. If you don't have a network, you can't be part of that. We've seen how virtual learning, online education has also become critical during this COVID era. Without stable networks, you can't be part of that. We've seen how even telemedicine and remote consulting is becoming part of our health delivery systems. You need a stable network for that to happen. Many offices, businesses are operating virtually. We've just had a Zoom conference with our mentors. Without stable connectivity, you cannot have that. So it is imperative that we treat network connectivity like we treat access to electricity or water.
Now, a teacher in Accra, Emmanuel Ajete, has won big in the history of Wutriya lotteries, taking home 798,000 cedis. There is more in this report.
Emmanuel Ajete, a teacher in Accra, has won the biggest lottery jackpot in the history of Wutriya lotteries. The lottery company, which operates with the short code *787#, presented the cash prize to Emmanuel in a grand ceremony at the National Lottery Authority head office. Emmanuel J, in his elated mood, had this to say.
Always I watch the television and I saw people emerge as the winners. They won huge sums of money, so I told myself one day I also become a winner. I started 2 months ago and I never give up. At times, I will be forward with an amount of 20 CD because my one number appear. So I keep on trying. I kept on doing it, and just last week, I bought just 4 tickets, which is 20 Ghana cedis. And the way that I won the prizes, I can't even express it. I won the first one, which was 778,000 cedis. I won the second one, which was 20,000 cedis, and the last one, which was 10 Ghana cedi. The 10 Ghana cedi was forwarded into my account, my mobile money account, instantly.
Richard Akoto-Bamfo, head of customer experience, used the opportunity to urge every Ghanaian to be part of Utriye Lotteries.
With a new jackpot recording this Saturday as 100,000 Ghana cedis, you also stand an equal chance to win 1,000 Ghana cedis this very Thursday. Just dial *787# now to purchase at least 3 tickets to qualify. Everybody stands an equal chance. You can be the next biggest jackpot winner. Take that opportunity now.
The Director General of the National Lottery Authority, Kofi Osei Ameyao, presented the check to the winner in the country.
And as we speak, people have won, but they are lesser amounts, and that's why we are not. In fact, there are some certain times that they win more than 100%. So it is good if you stake, God willing, you succeed. And then also those who are in the business too, we would encourage them to do it. And as more people win and we advertise, more people will stake. I formally hand over the check to Mr. JP. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Well, that's it by way of business. Coming up next is sports with Gary L. Smith. To stay.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. Gary L. Smith here with the sport. In our first story, former Youth and Sports Minister Nilante van der Poel says the risk of a potential conflict of interest situation prevented him from paying a $45,000 loan back to Ghana's first boxing world champion, DK Poison, when Nilante van der Poel, was in office. Now, the Ododo MP headed the sports ministry for 10 months before his party lost the 2016 elections. And according to him, he attempted to solve the problem fully, but became limited due to his personal relationship with the legend. This is part of a highlight of Joy News documentary, The Boxing Loan, which, done by Nathaniel Ato, explores the circumstances around the loan of $45,000 DK Poison gives to the state.
So people can recount. There is a historical account that could be vouched for. So once these things can be put together, then it behoves on the executive to decide that this is what we are going to do. And in that stand, there must be a clear-cut decision as to how it's going to be done. And that should be between the executive and possibly the legislature. So that, because the legislature will approve government budget. So the legislature will say that, well, this particular item and all this is what we are doing because of it. So it's not difficult, but it's also very difficult. You need to convince people. There's also issue of precedent that people were scared of. That tomorrow won't anybody also raise up and say, this is what happened, and as such I'm also supposed to be taken care of or paid something. So these are the difficulties and the dilemmas which face some of us. Because me, having that relationship with him, I was a bit also scared of a possible issue of conflict of interest. So even though I made attempts on it, I was a bit restricted in my demand that it should be done at all costs. At this point in time, if the government in power has decided that they will do it based on humanitarian gesture, I think it's a good idea. If they don't do it, or they are unable to do it, the next NDC government, I think that will also proceed from wherever this government has taken the issue to, and then we shall see what to do. But I support every every move to have that, if not the whole, something paid to him.
Time now for Showbiz. Becky is here with the very latest. Hi, Becky.
Hello to you, Aisha. Good evening to you and your viewers.
World Heritage Day.
Yes, that is something happening. But Aisha, let's talk about Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a song by Master KG, and it has gone viral.
Of course.
I'm sure that's one of your favorite, MFS favorite as well. She plays it every single day in the new show. But for those of you out there who still don't know exactly what I'm talking about, the song that I'm talking about, the song that has gone viral, here's your chance. Maps joins us. So you heard the directive from your president. How are the South Africans reacting to it?
Mapito, unmute for us. Okay, so we'll try and get Maps to unmute so we can hear her talk.
Hello, Maps. Oh, it looks like Maps is back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Loud and clear.
All right. So as I was saying, there's been mixed feelings and reactions towards this, because at the core of it all, although we are very excited and very proud of Master KG, at the core of this all, artists for the past 6 months have not been getting paid, have not been getting gigs. So as much as we are happy, we are also quite sad because, you know, we have been under lockdown. So we are also kind of disappointed in the president that he didn't things that, but we're very happy, and we've been doing the Jerusalem challenge before the president even announced.
You want to do one for us?
Well, I'm in the car right now.
Maybe you can sing.
Do one.
One line.
Okay, Jerusalem.
Hey.
What's your name?
Aisha.
What's your name?
I know. You see, we should have joined the challenge and win this, because there's actually a prize tag
because we can actually win it.
Yeah, but I mean, David will allow us to do the dance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Give them.
We've given them all. Maps, you are too excited.
That's Maps for you, and that'll be it for Showbiz. Thank you so much for bringing us Showbiz. But we'll still go and do our own version
we'll pre-record it and play back to viewers.
And
they love it when we dance.
Because we really have to do it.
Yeah.
Those of you watching on Joy Prime, that'll be it. The news continues on Joy. To the rest of our stories, and residents of Adentan constituency say the state of the roads, drainage systems and water supply will be issues that will determine who wins their vote come December 7. While some of the constituents are impressed with the performance of the incumbent Yaboabian Samoa, others want him out, insisting he has failed to address their issues. Mr. Boabian Samoa will face stiff opposition from the NDC's Mohammed Adamu Ramadan. Journey says Joseph Akable has been engaging the constituents.
The Adentan constituency will on December 7 see a keenly contested race. The MPP's Yaboabian Samoa will be seeking to make history as the only MP to be retained.
A bigger gap. In 2016, I had nothing to show. Now we have lots to show. We have a lot of things that have happened in mere 3.5 years of the new Patriotic Party's governance in Adenta, as compared to the 8 years that the NDC has in Adenta.
Yes, sir.
And we believe that, given the differences, residents of Adenta will feel the edge to maintain the MPP in power.
The NDC's Mohammed Ramadan will want history to remain unchanged as he maintains Yaboabian Asamoah does not deserve a second term.
If with the help of God we'll be able to go through this one, I'm very confident that come 7th December 2020, Ramadan will be declared the winner. And and Member of Parliament-elect for Adenta constituency.
The constituents who are politically conscious simply cannot wait. At the bus terminal on a Thursday morning, the usual political debate is already underway. I join and ask who will win the seat in the upcoming election. Meters away from the central part of the terminal, I meet Ayisi and Big Joe. Big Joe, a driver in his early 40s, is the first to speak. He's clear in his mind that the current MP, Yaobua Biansamwa, does not deserve his vote.
It is not going well at all, because at the time the NPP was taking over government, we thought they would do things differently. You should see the route we the taxi drivers use. It is in a terrible shape and impossible to use once it rains.
He wants voters to try Mohammed Ramadan.
Since the MP won the election, we don't see him. It was during the lockdown that he sent his people to share food. He came here 4 days ago to fix his posters. For me, Big Joe, if we vote today, I will vote against him and I know he will lose.
Someone
said we should try him, so we will try this one too. My voter's ID card is in my car. I am ready to vote.
Big Joe's friend, you see, has a contrary opinion. He insists Yaobua Bin Asamoah deserves a second term.
They are telling lies. We are not losing. Things are cool here. Adenta is an MPP seat. The claims he hasn't done anything is false. Go to the flats, he has fixed all the street lights. The bridge that crosses the road, he's fixed it. Same at the gas filling station. At Jungano roads, Research and Adenta village and other areas, he's fixed the roads.
Adenta village, are you holding she knew I just say, why be?
He, however, admits Mr. Asamoah has not been very visible in the constituency.
Why be Twaso? 4 more for Nana. It's a
disease with the MPP guys. That's how they are. But ask if they didn't see him during the lockdown. He came to share food.
Other constituents have their own views.
He wants to do, and we are almost done an election. He should have done it long time when he came to. At least even if it is 2 months in a year or the first year or second year, it's better. But prior to the election, and then you say you are doing something. You didn't do anything. They shouldn't. The politicians should not be putting dust in our eyes. We are all enough in this country to be seeing such dirty things now. That politics now in Ghana is about the truth. If you don't speak the truth and you are lying to the people, it's your own problem. So now that he has come out and he's saying he's doing something, he's crippling himself because he should have done it long time.
So you prefer Ramadan?
Of course. We prefer Ramadan, and he will come.
I think Yaobua Biansamwa is capable of winning this. Well, looking at what Nana Addo has done so far, I think he's capable. I think they will allow him to win for him to promote the good work of Nana Addo. If should you change your MP and the presidential candidate isn't your candidate, it will be quite difficult for your MP to do developmental projects in your constituency. You know the nature of our politics in the country. Always they want to sabotage the MP who is not on their side. So probably if you don't vote for that particular MP for that presidential candidate to also win, I think that constituency you are going to move slowly in development.
The debate will not end anytime soon, but the voters will make their voices heard and their thumbs speak on December 7th.
So the visuals on your screen shows how detailed our discussions on the battleground that premieres on radio will be for you. It's just started, but we'll be crossing over to get a sense of the premiering of the battleground on Joy 99.7. But before that, the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh, says he's convinced the numerous projects executed by the NPP government will translate into votes for the party in the December 2020 polls. He mentions the establishment of 2 universities for the region, the construction of 78 road projects and 4 major highways which are under construction, as well as implementation of the free SHS program. Dr. bin Saleh made the statement at a sensitization conference organized for NPP women ahead of the 2020 elections. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
The Upper West region used to be a stronghold for the forebears of the new patriotic party, the Dankwa Dombo Buzia tradition. However, since the return to constitutional rule in 1992, the party is yet to get a smile of a lady's luck, though its support base over the years has been increasing. The party in the 2016 general election moved from no seat to win 5 of the 11 parliamentary seats in the Upper West region. They also managed to increase the presidential vote from 29.26 to 36.64%. Speaking at a conference organized by Optimist Ladies to sensitize NPP women ahead of the December polls, Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh stated that the party is bent on winning more souls to its fold to become the majority party in the region in the 2020 polls. The evidence, he said, is the numerous developmental projects dotted in the region.
But in less than 4 years, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has graciously given the people of the Upper West region 2 universities. One is the SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies. And the second is the Hilaliman Technical University. Currently, we have 4 critical roads being worked on. That is aside are benefiting from the free senior high school program in the Upper West region. A great chunk of these students would not have been in school but for the intervention of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. They are all in school.
God bless you. God bless you. Amen. God bless you. Amen. God bless you, man of God. Yes. God bless you. All right.
President of the Nkomi Traditional Council, Nana Asori Kununku II, has called on former President Mahama to enact policies that would enhance the distribution of premix fuel to the predominantly fishing area. The request was made at a mini Deba of chiefs and people of Kejeji as part of the NDC flag bearers' 3-day visit to the Bono East region.
On fair roads and
In response, President Mahama accused the Nana-Addo-led government of masterminding the high cost of premixed fuel by politicizing the distribution of the commodity. He assured that in his second coming, he would re-establish the premixed committee instituted by the Mills administration in order to boost the fishing sector.
Fishing, no. Because Mills abreso on Esa and Krokra and Krofa almost be a Juma was used on Nancy almost in episode said, how anything. And also, the outboard motors, no premixer, the Dikuma, it's medical so a question number. The Yabi, and about some mercy you, Mate. And Yameba, Yabaya is a fofro. Send a bear premix, no, a baby a fari for them. If we say, Caneno. Na enkopo bi enenya premix no na omo de omo faso ato so no ma beton ama aparefo no afaso obedi mampehi en obde nya friend landing beach committees nebaye eti bebia aparefo no wa omo ye ensuo so edwuma no ote landing beach committee I just say premix no eba landing beach committee na SM landing beach committee so na a fisherman na kasa enomation committee samre no nie yimo we are NDCO we are CPPO we are Ibenio we are Gonjenio so we are enso edwuma dia premix no obenya bi entina bibia akoso asumdwemu bibia akoso ye aban we kwamba ye and a landing beach committees a wohina, Omogunina, and I feel Omakoyi party for our maybe account amount. It's a premix number, not in their common. Now, Omodom Faso so no one Tom Ama Afarifono, Nasika and Dasono, Omodexitri party.
So that was former President Mahama essentially explaining why he thinks the Nana-Addo-led administration made it difficult for the fisher folks, but said the late Mills actually thought of these fisher folks, and that's the work he intends to continue when he's re-elected. Now, traders in Takwa, a key mining town in the western region, have expressed worry over the increasing economic hardship in the country, saying the situation is adversely affecting their businesses. According to them, trading has become difficult. They believe a changing government would help to make their trading more profitable, sharing their concerns with Professor Nano Pukwajeman, running mate of John Mahama, who visited the Takwa market as part of her tour of the region. The traders said they look forward to the NDC's incentives for small-scale enterprises to expand their businesses. Professor Pukwajeman, responding to their concerns, promised them improved livelihoods through profitable trading under the NDC administration should they win power. Let's do more, because Association of Progressive Assembly Members and former Assembly members have endorsed a campaign promise of the opposition NDC to put Assembly members on monthly salaries. According to the group, the move is apt since it would empower and motivate Assembly members to deliver their duties and also make local governance participation attractive to better qualified individuals. Addressing the media in Ho, the chairperson of the group, Martha Lagle, indicated the promise to assign the role of birth and death registration to Assembly members would help ensure accurate data on the citizenry for developments and other purposes. She also proposed that a percentage of the District Assembly Common Fund be dedicated to electoral areas to enable Assembly members undertake developmental projects in their respective areas.
Apart from the rules imposed by the Assembly member by law, they have become the first port of call in good or bad times. The Assembly member is a taxi driver, the money lender, the sanitation officer, the judge, the lawyer, the dispute resolution expert, among others. In most communities, when things come to a head, the Assembly member is always there to intervene. It is on the strength of the foregoing, the era where Assembly members work as sacrificial service renders should not remain with us. It should be in the dustbin of history. Our media friends, this innovative idea, aside empowering and motivating assembly members to work more effectively, qualified personalities with varied backgrounds to participate in the local governance system to inject more efficiency and effectiveness into how MMDAs are run. Dear men and women, the question on the lips of those opposed to this promise is, can we trust Mahama to implement this pledge? Our answer to this question is a big yes. Our trust to Mahama is backed by what he as Vice President. It was under him as Vice President that motorbikes were given all assembly members in Ghana. This is historic, if not unprecedented, in the Fourth Republic. We therefore say with certainty that this promise will come to fruition with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as President. Ladies and gentlemen, we also note with glee the promise to elevate the whole and Wawa municipalities into the metropolitan status. We would want to express our profound gratitude to former President for his bold statements. Like Oliver Twist, we would like to appeal to His Excellency John Mahama and the NDC to consider dedicating a percentage of the District Assembly Common Fund to each electoral area, which could be named Electoral Area Common Fund.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumbungu, says about 4 out of 10 patients receiving care in facilities are harmed in the process. This sometimes, he says, leads to either death or disability. Dr. Abuaje believes unsafe healthcare delivery can be curtailed if protocols outlined in the service's guidelines for effective healthcare are adhered to. He is urging managers of health facilities to ensure staff comply while the necessary logistics for health personnel are also made available. He said this at the National Patient Safety Healthcare Quality Conference in Accra on Thursday.
This is what patients say they want when they visit health facilities.
Doctors and nurses will be our
The doctors and nurses are very caring. They are so careful when examining us, and I am very satisfied with their work. And not this.
Recently, I sent my daughter to hospital. The way some of the nurses were attending to us, it wasn't favorable. When the patients come there, they should have time and cater for them.
But according to the Ghana Health Service, some patients do not receive this kind of care and actually go home with more infections than they got to the health centers. Director General of the service, Dr. Patrick Kumbungu, has been explaining why at the conference.
According to the WHO, as many as 4 out of 10 patients are harmed while receiving care globally. In Ghana, unsafe care occurs in the form of hospital-acquired infections, unsafe surgeries, wrong medication, transfusions or infusions, among others.
Dr. Kumbungu wants all managers of health facilities to adhere to the guidelines outlined by the Ministry of Health to ensure that there is reduction of risk, errors, and harm in providing health care.
Have been developed. Incident reporting guidelines are there. Infection prevention and control policies guidelines are there. National WASH technical guidelines. The Patient Charter of 2002 and the Community Scorecard, and more recently, the Ghana Health Service Guideline for the implementation of the National Healthcare Quality Strategy are among some of the many guiding documents that we're using to improve patient safety.
According to the country director of PATH, Patients Kofi, provision of wash facilities in health centers will also help reduce risk of infection from hospitals to patients.
It must be noted that inadequate wash services in healthcare facilities compromises health worker safety and dignity, and also has the potential to exacerbate the spread of antimicrobial resistant infections among health workers and this undermines the efforts to improve the safety of their healthcare facilities.
A Ghana Health Service guideline for the implementation of the National Healthcare Quality Strategy was launched. Hannah Odami for Joy News.
Still to come in this bulletin, we'll be crossing over to Joy 99.7 to have a feel of the premiering of the Battleground, which is currently under. We'll be back shortly with more.
Hello there, it's now time for business. Chief Executive of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Ajiman, is confident of increased traveler numbers and tourist visits even as Ghana reopens international travels. Already, Qatar Airways is set to begin 4 weekly scheduled flights to Accra via Lagos from September 29. Akwesi Sapon spoke to Israelai earlier on Business Live.
I think we're aware of this. We've been aware of this as far back as 2017. So this is nothing new. But what we have done to address it is to bring into being a new LI, a new law, LI 2393, which will regulate tourist sites and attractions. And that LI is very specific on the management, the ownership, the advisory boards, and everything that you have to do. And so this came into being somewhere in February 2020. We've been working at it since 2017, went through a lot of stakeholder engagements, and in December 2019, on the 23rd of December, that was one of the last items that was laid in the House, and it became law somewhere in February. And so currently we are seeking to regulate these tourist sites and attractions with this LI. And that LI is very, very specific on having the District Assembly, the Traditional Authority, and the Ghana Tourism Authority as part of the governing boards of all the tourist sites and attractions. And also there is a sharing formula and a sharing ratio. I mean, in terms of actually regulating these sites, we'll be looking to have certain facilities in place. And so basic amenities like washrooms, infirmaries, access to a nearby hospital, having a proper manager of the site, and also ensuring that the money collected are distributed per the formula that will be agreed per each location. Because there are some locations that have been over the years owned by communities. They've made investments into that. So yes, the law will recognize those investments made in those communities and those tourist sites. But be it as it's made, the overarching theme will be that every site will have a proper management structure in place, will have a sharing ratio, and monies that are generated will be reinvested in the site. We have that model currently working in Kintampo, where we have the Traditional Authority, GTA, and the District Assembly, and it's working very perfectly. Every monies that are generated are shared among these three entities, and a certain portion goes back into maintenance and redevelopment of the site.
Right. Can we then assume that all the tourist sites generate enough revenue to be able to take care of themselves and fix whatever challenges or maintain these facilities? Or there are some that don't make enough money? And if they don't make enough money, how do we address that?
Yeah, so for those that, I don't think all of them are making enough. I mean, but for those that don't make enough, we are addressing it with some of our redevelopment plans that we have in place. So for example, if you take a site like Bunsu, if you go there now, we've developed it as an eco park, and we have made that investment utilizing the Tourism Development Fund. So that is the reason why we have a Tourism Development Fund, and one of the areas of investment are these sites.
Now, the Center for Coastal Management of the University of Cape Coast has bemoaned the near collapse of the fisheries industry. According to Director of the Center, Professor Dennis Wolanyo Aheto, excess capacity according to the industrial and artisanal fisheries fleets loading overfishing is killing the industry. Nicholas Brown has more in this report.
Despite the fisheries subsector recording the highest growth rate in the agri sector in the second quarter of this year, the Center for Coastal Management says the industry is on the verge of collapse. Director of the center, Professor Dennis Wolanyo Aheto, tells me one contributing factor of the struggling industry has to do with pair trawling.
The Sardinella species are virtually collapsed. And we all do know that marine fisheries, particularly at the artisanal scale, contribute significantly to national development, because we do have about 3 million Ghanaians who depend on the fisheries. Obviously, not just the small pelagic, but also the large pelagic, the tunas, and so on. And so, over time, we have not really put in place adequate measures to sustain the fish stocks. And so issues of illegal, reported or non-regulated fishing, where we've allowed foreign vessels into our oceans to mismanage our stocks to the detriment of Ghanaians, local fishers, has been an issue.
Professor Aheto further indicated that the lack of a participatory governance framework and inadequate institutional capacity must be addressed to protect the fisheries industry.
We do have a challenge of open access fisheries for the artisanal small-scale fishers, and once the fisheries cannot be managed at that level, it becomes a problem. We also do have low institutional capacities to really, in terms of scientific and technical know-how, to address these challenges. And then the governance framework also needs to be strengthened. And it goes a lot more. And then even if you look at the coastal sector, it's not just the fish. We do have the challenges of pollution, poor sanitation, and eroding coastline. And obviously, as a coastal country, we need to be concerned.
The Center for Coastal Management of the University of Cape Coast is set to hold a town hall engagement with political parties on fisheries and coastal management challenges in Ghana on the 22nd of September as part of the 2020 national elections. Professor Aheto explains to Joy Business on what should be expected.
And for the politicians, I mean, the voting public within the coastal environment constitute nearly about 1.2 million voters. And I think that this platform really provides all the 5 political parties that we are inviting.
Now, the Continental Blue Investment Ghana Limited, producers of cement, SuperSem cement in the country, is optimistic it will double its production capacity in the coming year, despite the impact of COVID-19. After donating over 3,000 cement bags to some 3 institutions in Accra to help complete ongoing projects. There is more in this report.
Continental Blue Investment Ghana Limited, producers of SuperSem cement, has donated over 3,000 cement bags to the Detective Training Academy of the Ghana Police Service at Tesano, the Ghana Air Force at Bema Camp, and the Utu Breku Traditional Council in support of their ongoing projects. The donation, according to the board chairman, Paul Albridge, is the company's commitment in ensuring professionals are well trained through increased capacity. He further said COVID-19 pandemic, though had impacted negatively on many businesses, brings enormous opportunities.
Globally, more than 4,000 bags. And our aim and target is to assist all this development.
The director of SuperSem Cement expressed concern about the substandard cement products on the market. He urged the Ghana Standard Authority to increase its surveillance activities to prevent inferior products from getting on the market.
Ghana is a very competitive market with a lot of players. We are betting on quality.
The representatives of the Ghana Police Service, COP Isaac Kenyeboa, and Ghana Air Force Air Commodore Jacob Enum Ashirifie were of full praise for SuperSem.
We are very appreciative of the fact that they've given us this thing, and it will help us continue with our project.
SuperSem, one of Ghana's leading brands in the production of cement, believes the market price of cement in the country remains one of the lowest in the West African sub-region. Fred Duho reporting for Joy Business.
And that's how we end business. I'm Charles Aite. Gary L. Smith is up next with sports. To stay.
And with 81 days to go to the polls, Joy News began today the battleground, which takes a look at the various constituencies. And as advertised, we are having Adentan in the spotlight today. So just to your right, you see live in the Joy FM studios, I was just coming from there, Winston Amoa, Evans Mensah, Akable, I think I see, and also Emi Fapel anchoring the debate between the two MPs who were asked to jaw and slag it out in the beginning. It was quite feisty as the MP and the aspiring, traded verbal, jousts and blows about who was doing what and who was not doing what as well. So please tune in to Joy 99.7 FM for it after you get a bit on this feed.
His parliamentary candidate won. So it's always had that unique position of having the member of parliament having his party in government. Now, Yaboamia Samoa made a point. No, Ramadan actually made a point that Yaboamia Samoa, when you go around, people say they don't see him. Joseph was there. You hear that. When I spoke to
he's a shadow MP.
When I spoke to Yaboamia Samoa in April 2019 at the College of Physicians and Surgeons, he admitted that over the past 2.5 years or 3 years, he had been doing party work. He is now going to do his constituency work. Yes.
That's dangerous.
And I have given you the date. It was a date Dr. Baumia, I think it was on the 3rd of April, that Dr. Baumia held his town hall meeting at the College of Physicians and Surgeons. I gave that date because I just wanted to be sure that was the day I spoke to him. And he said, look, over the past 1.5 years, I've been doing party work, but I think it's now time for me to go and do my MP work. The other challenging thing, Bobby throws in something. He says, vote for this and vote for my Akunta. Look, if you go down, the conversation within the NDC is that, look, we're going to run this election for Ramadan.
Really?
I am telling you.
As in the entire...
The NDC says they will run the election for Ramadan. They would run and win the election for Ramadan. Whether he likes it or not, he will win.
Okay.
And that is what makes the dynamics even critical.
Are you suggesting that YB is on his own? As in, remember that he's paid a lot.
No,
he's told you.
I'm saying that. I'm saying that when you get into the NDC, the NDC members on the ground, you see, YB makes a point. He says when you go around, Ramadan is saying vote for me and vote for Akufo-Addo. And I'm telling you that if you go to the NDC in Adenta, what they tell you is that, look, we are going to run the campaign for Ramadan. What that means is that the NDC is united behind him.
Are we getting the same from the NPP for Yaboamia Samoa?
Well,
because he was contested in the primaries, and it was interesting.
Yaboamia Samoa, after his victory in the primaries, had all other persons pledge their support to him. And you have Kwesi Mante, for instance, deciding to actually do billboards. I mean, where he had his billboard, he's going to take his pictures off and have Boabinga Samuel's pictures there. Evans, if you use that stretch when you're coming to work, you see that where Kwesi Mante had his billboard just around the barrier, it is now Boabinga Samuel's billboard there. And Kwesi Mante had promised he was going to do this. That probably might send you a signal that
they've closed ranks.
They've closed ranks. But finally on this, the reason why it becomes even difficult is what I said when I said that, look, consistently the party that wins the national election has as its MP, has its member winning the MP in Adenta constituency.
Even though the candidate may not necessarily win
the election. As I said, the party that wins the national elections has its MP winning Adenta constituency. And would that be the same thing? Would Boabinga Samoa be the most lucky, would he be the luckiest MP in Adentan constituency?
To win it twice, to retain that seat. Well, it's a good time to bring in Israel, but Joseph, this is an interesting seat by all standards that we've talked about. We've talked about the dynamics. I would want us to look at the personalities of these two candidates. That's Mohammed Ramadan, and of course Yaboamia Samoa. What do we know?
And so Yaboamia Samoa, we know him as a legal practitioner. He's worked at the presidency before. He's the MP currently, and he's also the director of communication Mr. Ramadan has also been a presidential staffer before. He's a management consultant as well. And like the issue that came up has to do with the relationship with the vice president.
The vice president,
as well. And so that is who he is. He's someone whose ground game is quite good. And in terms of the statistics that Winston makes reference to, there is some data that changes the dynamics entirely.
Okay.
The total voter population over the period has been less than 100,000. The just ended voter registration exercise is among the top 10 constituencies in terms of the total registered, and they are now exceeding 150,000. And so if you are having differences that are less than 5,000 and now you are doing around 150,000, that tells you that you have a lot of people on the register now and they could vote either ways, and that could change everything. Then again, the point is made about the first time you're having two individuals who are competing. And the other question that you again ask is that if it's the case that the person who wins the seat, that person has the presidential candidate winning, then your question that you should be asking is that generally, do people think they want to give President Akufo-Addo a second term? Because
that's where we get to the projections just before we wrap up the show. But let's bring in Israel. Israel, you've lived there for what? How many years? 16. You've had all your children in Adenta.
Exactly. I moved from one side of the constituency to another part of the constituency. I used to live at Adenta Commando.
What's so special about Adenta that you've lived there all this while?
Well, straddles between Abokobi and East Legon.
So you are part of the people that makes it a swing,
Exactly, you can say that. But it's a very interesting constituency because you're going to get virtually all the demographics within that space. People who are very affluent, and there's a part of East Legon actually that is within the Denton constituency. So if you talk about American House, the Kabili Clear area, the Zoom Lion Boss where he lives, all that areas come under the Adentan constituency. So Adentan, there you're seeing the very affluent people, and then it stretches all the way through Ogbojo, which are like settlement communities, all the way to Adenta housing, all those areas. So you're going to get, and also there are also these developing communities that are springing up.
Okay.
And that's where you're also getting the masses. Okay, so you have just about everybody.
So you've lived there long enough to know about the challenges of the Adentan constituency. We all know that it used to be water. But what exactly is it? Has it changed? Has the water situation improved?
Now here with the sports, Gary Al Smith. And in as much as there's a battleground for the elections proper, there's also a battleground in sports when it comes to Ghana and getting foreign-born players of Ghanaian descent. That's it. Now let's go to our Instagram to give you a sense of how difficult it is for the Ghana Football Association when it comes to getting players born abroad to represent Ghana. So our first story will be George Amoako. Yes, he's a member of the GFA Executive Council, and he was asked on our sister station in Shira FM about Tariq Lamptey, who he plays for Brighton, and he says it's not going to be easy to get Tariq to play for Ghana, and the national teams department is making serious efforts to get his parents and the boy to agree. I don't want to sound like it's impossible, but it's not going to be easy. So that's what he said as well. In another story that's been trending today, as you may know on our bulletins, Thiago Alcantara has left Bayern Munich officially for Liverpool. The move about 20 million if you add the add-ons and potentially anything that could arise from his trophy winnings that may happen at Liverpool, 27 million pounds. And there's been talk from his boss, Hansi Flick, the boss of Bayern Munich, who says that Thiago is an exceptional player who spent 7 hugely successful years at Bayern. He's a wonderful person and an outstanding professional. It was very emotional today when he said goodbye to us all. So you can go to Joy Sports GH, that's our Instagram, for all the stories we do not, because of time, cover here. But we have time to talk to you about the Secretary General of the Ghana Athletics Association, Bao Fuseni, who is anticipating that funding for sports after COVID-19 will be difficult. Now, according to him, corporate organizations have been badly hit by the pandemic and they have not been able to seek funding. That's the GAA.
The outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic has forced most companies to readjust their budget to support institutions in the country. The Ghana Athletics Association Secretary General Bao Fuseni says since the outbreak of the pandemic, The athletics governing body has not approached any corporate body for financial support for their activities.
For the last couple of months, frankly, I've not been able to speak to anybody. But it's difficult to go to corporate institutions knowing very well that they are struggling financially, to go and ask them that give us sponsorship for this. And athletics, the sponsorship that we seek are sometimes very huge. You can tell somebody, give me $15,000, give me $20,000, and at this time, they may think that you are not reasonable. So we are giving corporate institutions, corporate Ghana, at least after the COVID, when they recover from the COVID effects, then we can go back to them. But prior to that, we are already engaged some individual, some corporate bodies, and one came through like Ghana Maritime Authority. We're also talking to Gapoha too, Ghana Port and Highway Authority. They also indicated that they will support us. They even gave us a letter of support. So just when they were about to make good of their pledge, then the COVID came. So all of us sat back. Maybe early next year or at the end of December, we'll sort of remind them that we had a commitment with them. Apart from that, we've not gone back to any corporate institution, knowing that this is not a time to go knocking people's door for money.
With government gradually easing restrictions for the organization of events in the country, Bawa Fuseni believes funding for sporting activities in the country, especially the Ghana Athletics Association, will prove difficult.
The sports in general beyond COVID is going to be very difficult. Very, very difficult in terms of funding, in terms of the protocols. It will not be as usual. It will going to be very expensive to organize because you need to have all the protocols in place. You need to provide PPE for your athletes, for your coaches, for officials, and for you yourself. So definitely it's going to be a bit difficult and a bit expensive. And coming out from elections and the COVID effects on the private sector, they need to regain their financial strength before they can be able to give sponsorship. And coming up from the elections, it will take 2, 3, 4 months before the new government will be able to settle down to be able to give something out for the preparations. So in all, it is not going to be as usual. It's going to be a pretty difficult.
The GAA is hoping to organize one more event for athletes to help them participate in the Tokyo 2021 Olympic qualifiers.
A ranking member for the Parliamentary Select Committee on Sport and Culture, Kobe Woyome, says the 500 cedi monthly stipend for athletes from the government is quite inadequate. The Youth Employment Agency, in conjunction with the National Sports Authority, agreed to provide a monthly stipend of 500 Ghana cedis to 1,000 athletes for the next half a year. Athletes who were vetted and approved by the National Sports Authority Vetting Committee received their first stipend this month. However, the decision to pay only 1,000 athletes has been described as selective. Ranking member of the Parliamentary Select Committee for Sports and Culture, Kobna Mensa Woyome, says the government should have provided for as many athletes as possible.
You know, the point is that it must be all-encompassing. I mean, you cannot be discriminatory in a way, but it will also be good that you look at athletes that are of good standing, that are in very good standing, athletes that are in good standing and are actually professionals and are people who represent us in continental and beyond tournaments and etc. So it depends. It's subjective. It depends on what the situation is. In any case, whatever the numbers are, you must be able to exhaust all. You don't treat others and leave others. So if you have maybe 200, 300, 1,000, 2,000, being athletes that we know are potential persons that will defend our flag, and wherever they go will want to market the country and so on and so forth in these tournaments and etc. I think it's just in place that we take care of all of them and not just a few.
He added that even for the 1,000 athletes who are receiving 500 Ghana cedis monthly, he believes the money is pittance.
In other words, I'm sure the figure 500 Ghana cedis, you know very well that some of the people that are being paid today travel from far to this place to take their to go and access their money. If you consider the lorry fares and all the other incidentals, some of them call me and tell me that seriously, it doesn't really help them. But again, it is something that is for not one person to consider. It's something that you would have to discuss broadly with the athletes themselves, with the GOC, with what do you call it? Everybody would have to come together, and they are representatives of the athletes themselves, and then the sportsmen and women, so that it will be a broad discussion, arrival at consensus, and before you even arrive at that consensus, all issues and factors would have been taken into consideration, so that at the end of the day, you know what you're doing.
The agreement between the National Sports Authority and the Youth Employment Agency to provide the monthly stipend is subject to renewable, depending on the COVID-19 situation in the country.
And that's the sport for now. Gary Al Smith here. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to follow the conversation of all our stories and so much more on @JoySportsGH on Twitter, and on that Instagram I showed you, same address, and Joy Sports on Facebook. The hashtag, as usual, is Joy Sports.
And as I wrap up the bulletin tonight, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. PM Express Business Edition is up next. Enjoy the rest of our programs.